Hey guys, what is going on? This is Reaper Fear bringing you another Godfather 2 playthrough part, and I believe this is part 15, something like that. 14, 13, 14, 15, somewhere along those lines. So before this video gets started, I'd just like to say to leave a like rating and remember to subscribe if you want to see more. So let's hop right in. I don't really have any planned topics today. I just figure I'd scroll through the news websites and all that good stuff, and see where it takes me. So, and first off, I do apologize. I will be bringing back my normal amount of content after I start feeling better. As to this point, I do not, so I will not. So, keep tuned for that extra little bit of content that I will be putting out once I do feel better. So, let's get right in. Let's see what's going on in the news today. Obama speaks to nation on Syria. Okay, let's take a look at this. Apparently, he said the Syrians are clearly responsible for the use of chemical weapons that killed more than 1,000 people, of course. He said the U.S. would work with Russia on its proposal to persuade Syria to destroy its chemical weapons stockpile. Apparently he didn't believe that force could solve the civil war, and these are all very good points. I think on terms of how Obama has responded to the Syria pressure, I think he's responded very well. I think it was a very risky maneuver to involve the government, to involve the rest of Congress. That just seems... It's a little unnecessary, in my view, and it could have led him to make better decisions, but now that he's in, and so far he's making good decisions, actually, and it's quite impressive, especially with the massive amount of pressure that must be on his head to either intervene or to not. And it's hard because no matter the choice that he makes, there's always going to be people that are against it, and that's the problem with being a political leader, is to make the best decision for your people, even if they aren't happy with it. Don't make the decisions that make the people happy, because it rarely will do much, if any, good. So this is a good article. It's on BBC for those who are curious. Anyway, let's move on. I read this article actually earlier today. U.S. income inequality at record high, and what that means is that the 1% are making more and the 99% are making less, and that's because that the market has gotten so low that people are selling off, like anyone who owns the way the market works, okay, is that the stock market works in the fact that the people, individuals, okay, anyone, your regular John or Joe or Jane or what have you, own what, I think it's 0.5% of all the stocks in the market, and then companies, LLCs, things like that own the rest. And so the public can't make the money off of... That's why big corporations can just keep getting bigger, and that's why big corporations often, like, they just randomly crash sometimes, is because of the stock market. That's where they make their money. It's like if, say, Windows makes, like, they made Windows 7, okay? Windows 7 was great. It was a huge step up from Vista and XP, and many people were like, yes, 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 it's really good. And Windows stock got a huge boost, which means that Windows made a lot of money. And when Windows 8 came out, everyone was like, no, 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 this is really, really bad. And so Windows lost a lot of stock potential, a lot of investment by other people, and so they lost a lot of money, and overall. And what this means is that the companies now are making more and the people now are making less. So, I mean, Microsoft's ways, I mean, I think the last time it was checked was when the CEO of Microsoft stepped down. When the CEO of Microsoft, who just resigned, went into his role as chief executive officer. Microsoft was worth within the realm of $650 billion. And so that's a lot of money. I mean, Bill Gates can literally spend money, or make money faster than he can spend it. That's how wealthy Microsoft is. I mean, it depends on what you're buying, of course, but like if you wanted to buy Snickers bars, like if you wanted to buy a Snickers bar every second, then go ahead. He probably could buy like 600 Snicker bars every second. But when the CEO stepped down, Microsoft was worth $259 billion, I think. So almost a third of what it was worth was gone. And so this is where everyone is, everyone that invests in the stock market, every Joe and Jane that are investing, are very nervous because they can, yes, lose a lot of money in the stock market, but in the end, if you sell your stock, some other company is going to pick it up. If you don't have that vested interest in a company anymore, then some other big company is going to pick it up. And, you know, I mean, you might control 0.5%, you might control 20% of a company. I mean, it really depends. Anyways, the fact that these companies are making more money, and the fact that the average U.S. citizen is making less, isn't surprising because of the current state of things. And what I mean by that is that our poverty, our national debt, we had to make a new ceiling for it. Otherwise there would be, I mean, mass chaos and all that good sort of thing. So we had to push the debt higher so we could be in more debt. And I think right now the U.S. government is in debt up to $14 trillion. I'm just gonna number crunch that real quick here. Google it. United States. National debt clock. What do we hit? 16 trillion as of the 11th of September. So this is, yeah, okay, this is a different, almost $17 trillion. So if everyone in the United States wanted to pay off their share, they would have to pay $52,872.71. And it says it increases by about $2 billion a day, which is pretty impressive if you consider how much these people spend. And I mean, people can look at it and say that the United States should stop spending so much money, and yes, the United States needs to stop spending so much money. And that's a big reason of why the corporations are where they are and where the people are where they are and everything like that, is because our government isn't efficient in the way it runs capitalism anymore. The corporations make more money than the government does. And so how corporations work, like if you have a corporation like Apple or Microsoft. Apple was the big one in the news recently. How that works is the government makes a lot of money off of, I mean, they make money every which way. I mean, you name it, they probably make money off of it. But the government has a lot of tax. There's, I mean, different levels of state tax and stuff like that, but there's a federal tax for every American citizen that is working. So, and it's federal income tax, and you pay that income tax. And the way that works for companies is they take the estimation of how much they make in a year, and they tax that, however much percentage that they need to. And that can increase or decrease due to, like, overseas venues, things like that. But the problem with these big companies is that they can erase all of their taxes, or make them nearly nothing, by donating less money to, like, less money than what they owe in taxes to, like, things like companies and charities. And these can even be things that they own. And, I mean, the problem with the way we run business is that the businesses that we allow in the United States operate like the mob, and We operate like the patron saint of kindness. So our government has written so many laws and let the people do so many things that, I mean, we can't do anything. Like, if you wanted an example of how corporations are better than the government, look at the FDA versus pretty much everything. If the FDA wants to, like, shut something down, then calls can be made and the FDA will stop, okay? That is how much power our Food and Drug Administration has. There are the documentaries, things like Food Inc. and Super Size Me, that'll show exactly how much power the FDA has, and that power is absolutely none. They have no power to control people with. They can't control people. They can't control the food. That's what they are. They're the government-regulated institution for food, and they can't control it because the way we run business is that the companies have more money than what it's worth. And so whenever, like, if you have, like, a vote in Congress, like, for the FDA to get more power, I can assure you that there are a lot of people sitting in there that receive money from the FDA every month in terms of stock plans and stock options and things like that. And it is perfectly legal, and that is how people buy people now. I mean, corporations really are like the mob now. They buy people out, and anyone that gets in their way, they'll stamp on them, send them to court, or probably even have them killed. But anyway, so let's keep going in the news. I don't want to jabber on about politics forever. Go back to BBC. Okay, apparently coders get a quick look at Windows 8.1. Okay, apparently an outcry by programmers has forced Microsoft to give them early access. And for those who don't know, the problem with Windows 8 was that Windows 8 was released on computers and tablets specifically for touchscreens, but not everything that people wanted them to run on could be run on a touchscreen. So, I mean, it was just a clusterfuck of just programming error, and because programming touchscreens for programs is actually quite difficult, and Microsoft, of course, has the resources to do it. Not many other people do. I mean, it's hard to write programming that's supposed to respond to a program that responds to your program. I mean, the two programs have to interact in such a way that it works well. So, Windows 8 was definitely a downfall. It was the last Vista, I guess. I mean, it's sad that they released Windows 7 and then Vista, or XP, then Vista, and then 7, and XP and Vista or XP and 7 were great, and Vista 8 was awful. But anyways, it's definitely good that Microsoft let the coders have a look at it before, just to see if it was okay. I mean, it could lead to Microsoft having a very unprofitable year because of them just telling people just don't buy it, like, we won't program for it, so just don't buy it, just buy 7. And I can understand in Microsoft's point of view that it's kind of hard to still program for a computer when you're inventing all this new cool stuff, but you have to remember that programming for touchscreens and stuff like that isn't as widely available yet, and the programmers that can do that are very few and far between, and they're still getting used to the tech even. So anyways, we got about a minute left. Let's see what else is strolling around on the news today. The Pope got a new car. It's a 20-year-old car. And the reason I bring this up is because I like what the Pope is doing. I don't care for the Catholic Church. I think it has a lot of issues that it definitely needs to resolve. But Pope Francis is trying to run a church for the poor, which is a very good policy because he is making sure that the Vatican stops spending so much money. And that was a big problem with the Vatican for a while. I mean, the Vatican Bank is probably almost bankrupt. So, anyways, good on him. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like rating if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more. Remember to go check out my counterpart channel, Acid Blackouts, and until next time, peace!